Muscle cars that were all show, no go. 1. 1974 Pontiac GTO. The Pontiac GTO was once the king of muscle cars, but by 1974 it had lost its edge. That year, Pontiac downsized the GTO and moved it onto the compact Ventura platform. At first glance, the car still looked aggressive, with bold stripes and sporty styling. But under the hood, things were disappointing. The standard engine was a 350 cubic inch V8. It produced just 200 horsepower in base form. Even the upgraded versions struggled to deliver excitement. The weight of emissions regulations held it back. Compared to earlier GTOS, it was a major step down. Buyers who remembered the mighty 389 and 400 engines were disappointed. The car still had sporty looks with rally wheels and dual exhaust, but performance simply didn't match the image. The 0 to 60 time was sluggish compared to earlier models. Quarter-mile runs were nothing to brag about. Reviewers criticized the car for being more style than substance. Sales fell sharply, showing the loss of muscle car magic. It was no longer the street-dominating machine it once was. Enthusiasts often call the 1974 GTO the weakest of the breed. Its flashy appearance fooled some buyers at first, but once behind the wheel, disappointment followed. Even Pontiac knew it wasn't a true successor to the legend. The GTO name carried weight, but the car didn't live up to it. By the mid-1970s, muscle cars across the board were struggling. The GTO's fall from grace is one of the clearest examples. Collectors today see it as a curiosity more than a prize. It's remembered as the GTO that couldn't deliver. Despite its weak performance, it remains a symbol of a changing era. The 1974 Pontiac GTO showed how muscle cars lost their power. It's a perfect case of all show, no go, and that's why it belongs on this list. 2. 1976 Ford Mustang Touran Cobra II. By the mid-1970s, Ford faced pressure to make cars smaller and more fuel-efficient. The result was the Mustang II, which debuted in 1974. In 1976, Ford added the Cobra II package to bring back some muscle car flair. It featured racing stripes, spoilers, and flashy decals. On the outside, it looked like a true performance machine, but under the hood, it was a different story. The most common engine was a weak 302 cubic inch V8. It only made around 140 horsepower. For a car wearing the Cobra badge, that was embarrassing. The Cobra II was more about looks than performance. It had side stripes, hood scoops, and a bold appearance. But when you hit the gas, it was painfully slow. The car struggled in acceleration tests. Enthusiasts quickly realized it was no real muscle car. Ford marketed it heavily, as sporty and fun, but critics slammed it as a poser car. The Mustang II Cobra II could not compete with true performance cars. Still, it sold fairly well because of its stylish looks. Many buyers just wanted the image of speed. Underneath, it was built on an economy car platform. The suspension and handling were unimpressive. It was more about cruising than racing. The Cobra stripes gave it an aggressive attitude, but car magazines called it disappointing. Collectors today see it as one of the least powerful Mustangs ever. It represents the low point of Mustang performance. The Cobra name was wasted on such a slow car. It proved that the Mustang had lost its bite in the 1970s. A true example of all show, no go. The Mustang II Cobra II remains one of the biggest letdowns in muscle car history. 3. 1978 Chevrolet Camaro Z28. The Camaro Z28 started as a true performance car in the late 1960s. By 1978, It looked meaner than ever with bold graphics and scoops. The second-generation Camaro had sharp styling that screamed muscle. The Z28 package included spoilers, stripes, and a performance image. On the outside, it looked ready to dominate the streets. But under the hood, things weren't as strong. The 350 cubic inch V8 produced only 185 horsepower. That was far from the brutal power of earlier Camaros. The car was heavier than its 1960s predecessors. This made acceleration sluggish. 0 to 60 times were unimpressive for a car with such an aggressive image. The quarter-mile results were equally weak. The Z28 was more bark than bite. Chevrolet gave it a sporty suspension for better handling, but straight-line speed just wasn't there. Enthusiasts criticized the lack of power. Still, many young buyers loved the style. The Z28 became popular as a cool-looking cruiser. Its flashy looks kept it selling well. But performance fans were left disappointed. Compared to early Camaros, it was a big downgrade. The engine struggled against rivals even in the late 70s. It showed how emissions and regulations hurt muscle cars. The Z28 had a strong name but weak performance. Even with its sporty exhaust, it lacked true muscle. Car magazines called it all show and no-go. Collectors today see it as a symbol of the muscle car decline. Its styling is loved, but its speed isn't. The 1978 Camaro Z28 proves looks can be deceiving. It's one of the clearest examples of a flashy but underpowered muscle car.